At various times over the past 20 years, I've written programs to meet certain standards that have been added. And in our x-squared equations, there's a program here that I wrote in response to some of the standards that we had the last state test. But I was glad that I was prompted to do it. It's zeros from a graph. Because I thought when I made it that it was something that students got confused. So that's finding the zeros of a function from a graph. So I'm going to hit a new problem, and here's a parabola. And it has a sum function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, as we've seen before. But if we set that quadratic part equal to 0, or if we think about the y being 0, let's put in the marker here. If you think about right here along the x-axis, the y is equal to 0. So if you have y equals some ax squared plus bx plus c, that gives you a quadratic equation, and you just take out the y and put a 0 in there, you get this slice right here on the x-axis. And where this quadratic cuts across the x-axis is the solution to the equation that has a 0 on it. So let's just see if we can't pick those out. I'll minimize the marker. So the zeros of this function are -1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy enough. That was one of the objectives. Could you pick out the zeros of a function just by looking at the graph? Let's do another one. Almost too easy. The zeros of this graph are 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, and 2. Too easy. The zeros of this graph are -2 and -4. Check. Well, while I was writing this, I thought, we can pick zeros out from the graph, but I bet you anything they'll confuse that with the factored form. So I better use the exact same engine, but change the questions a little bit. It says, find the factors. So if you look at this part, and we do a new problem, we see here that the only 0 we get is -2, but -2 must have come from a factor of x plus 2, and that would be the only one we would have. X plus 2, x plus 2. Notice there would be 2 of them. New problem. This time we have a 0 at 1 and 0, so there'd be an x times an x minus 1 and x times an x minus 1, not an x plus 1, because the factor would have to be x minus 1. I hope you see that. This one, 1, 2, it has a 0 of 2 and 3, so the factors would have to be -2 and -3, x -3. I hope you see that. So we go back to finding zeros. Finding zeros is finding where they cross. Finding factors is the quantity from which those zeros come. They can be confusing, so make sure that you get both of these straight. Thanks. Bye.